May 21st, 1968. USS Scorpion sends her final radio transmission. Routine check-in, 250 miles southwest of Portugal, homeward bound. 99 submariners expecting to see their families in 6 days. The official story: tragic accident, cause unknown, wreckage found 5 months later. But declassified acoustic data reveals the Navy knew within hours that Scorpion was gone. They knew where it was. And what deep-sea investigations discovered inside that wreck challenges everything. When Scorpion failed to arrive at Norfolk Naval Station on Memorial Day 1968, 64 wives and 99 children waited pierside. They would wait forever. Most sailors were under 25. The Navy declared them presumed lost on June 5th, but radio men at submarine headquarters already knew the truth. Underwater acoustic sensors had captured Scorpion's final moments, the explosive event, the desperate descent, the catastrophic implosion at 1,530 feet. For 5 decades, families were told the cause remained a mystery. No fault, no negligence, no enemy action. But what survives inside that wreck contradicts everything. 2 nuclear-tipped torpedoes, equipment frozen at the exact moment of catastrophe, and evidence pointing not to accident but to decisions made, warnings ignored, and a cover-up that reached the highest levels of naval command. Hours after Scorpion's final transmission, radio men knew something was wrong. The submarine was scheduled to send an encrypted check report meaning situation normal. That message never came. By midnight, specialists at Submarine Force Atlantic headquarters sensed catastrophe. Here's where the story takes a turn. The Navy's top-secret sound surveillance system, SOSUS, had recorded everything. Underwater acoustic sensors positioned across the Atlantic detected a specific signature at 11:59:47 p.m. on May 22nd. Hydrophones captured 17 distinct acoustic signals over 199 seconds. The technology had been developed to track Soviet submarines, but on that night it documented an American disaster with brutal precision. 2 radio men who worked that shift broke their silence in 2010, 42 years later. Mike Hannon and Ken Larbs revealed what they overheard. Senior officers openly discussing that Scorpion had been sunk, not lost. Sunk. The acoustic data pinpointed coordinates to within 5 nautical miles. The Navy knew exactly where she was by early June. Yet they would not officially discover the wreckage until October 30th. And get this, 3 former sailors from USS Compass Island claimed their vessel found the submarine in early June, 4 months before the official discovery. 2 crewmen from USS Petrel stated they saw underwater images of Scorpion while visiting another ship in late June. If true, the Navy located its nuclear submarine, examined it, then pretended to search for 5 more months while families agonized. The question becomes, what did they find inside that demanded such deception? When deep-diving research submarine Trieste II finally surveyed Scorpion in June and July 1969, the submersible made 9 dives over 2 months. What the cameras captured was not the clean, structural failure investigators expected. Trieste II could descend beyond 10,000 feet, equipped with external cameras and robotic systems. The submersible's feet collected actual sediment from the disaster site. One pilot preserved this material in a jar he kept for 45 years. Ocean floor from a grave. The submarine had broken into 3 sections. The bow fell almost vertically, impacting with slight forward motion. Early flooding clearly started forward. But here's where it gets complicated. The hull was not torn by external explosion. Evidence pointed to internal events, battery fragments scattered across debris. The sail torn completely free. most telling. Acoustic analysis confirmed the pressure hull collapsed in 0.112 seconds with energy equal to 13,200 pounds of TNT. 680 pounds per square inch of sea pressure became kinetic energy, a water ram entering at supersonic velocity. The structural analysis group identified the initiating events. 2 explosions, no more than 20 pounds of TNT each, involving hydrogen from the battery. This contradicted every public theory about torpedo malfunction or Soviet attack. The submarine's battery had destroyed it. The crew had seconds. At that depth, with catastrophic flooding, there was no time for distress signals. They knew what was coming. Scorpion carried a payload the Navy desperately wanted quiet. 2 Mark 45 nuclear-tipped torpedoes. Each warhead contained plutonium and uranium. They sat inside a shattered wreck 2 miles down, slowly corroding. Beginning in 1986, the Navy conducted regular monitoring using remotely operated vehicles with radiation detection. These ROVs measured radioactivity without disturbing the site, a technological necessity given the depth and the sensitivity. Decades of monitoring revealed something remarkable and terrifying. The nuclear materials showed no instability. Plutonium and uranium cores corroded into heavy, insoluble material remaining in the torpedo room. The reactor core stayed intact. No uranium leakage beyond atmospheric testing fallout has been detected. The Navy got extraordinarily lucky. Those warheads could have created environmental catastrophe. Instead, ocean pressure essentially entombed them. But they remain there. 2 nuclear weapons, fully armed in the dark 3 miles down. Families were never told their loved ones rest in a nuclear grave. Why was Scorpion even at sea? In 1967, major overhaul was scheduled at Norfolk Naval Shipyard. It never happened. Only emergency repairs were completed before she returned to patrol. Documents declassified in 1993 reveal what investigators found. The report of the Court of Inquiry, plus technical advisory group findings released in '98, provided complete maintenance history. These were handwritten logs and engineering assessments sealed for 3 decades, evidence of systemic failure. Scorpion had chronic problems, freon leaking from refrigeration, electrical fire in an escape trunk. The submarine observed a 500-foot depth limitation because post-thresher safety modifications remained incomplete. And get this, concerns about Mark 37 torpedoes had been raised in '67 and '68 before Scorpion departed. The battery powering these weapons had thin metal foil separating volatile chemicals. Normal submarine vibrations broke down this barrier over time, allowing violent chemical interaction. Heat could cause explosion. The Navy knew this before Scorpion left Norfolk for her final mission. This was not fate. This was not inevitable. Budget constraints and schedule pressures sent an inadequately maintained submarine with known dangerous torpedoes on a classified Cold War mission. The Court of Inquiry concluded no fault or negligence. The maintenance records tell a different story. Those 99 men died because someone decided patrol schedules mattered more than safety. 1968 was extraordinary for submarine losses. 4 boats from 4 nations disappeared within months. USS Scorpion, Soviet K-129, French Minerve, Israeli Dakar. The odds seemed astronomical, and Scorpion's acoustic data revealed something strange. At the moment of initial explosion, she was heading east, 180 degrees opposite her Norfolk course. Declassified intelligence and Soviet naval archives provide new context. SOSUS tracked not just American submarines, but Soviet vessels. Satellite surveillance showed Soviet warship activity in the Atlantic was unusually high during May '68. More aggressive patrols, more deliberate encounters. Days before Scorpion's loss, she detoured to conduct surveillance of Soviet ships, confirmed in declassified operations orders. Some analysts believed Scorpion was shadowing a Soviet vessel when disaster struck. The course reversal makes sense if executing emergency procedure. When a torpedo motor starts accidentally, protocol required coming to periscope depth, swinging 180 degrees to activate anti-circular run features, then jettisoning the weapon. The submarine may have been trying to save itself. The real kicker, Soviet submarine K-129 disappeared in March, just 2 months before Scorpion. Some speculated K-129 was sunk by American forces, and Scorpion's loss was retaliation. The connection to John Anthony Walker, who began spying for Soviets in September '67, 9 months before Scorpion sank, raises disturbing questions. Did Walker compromise Scorpion's position? One theory suggests Soviet forces used his intelligence to set a trap. Bottom line, no credible evidence confirmed hostile action. American and Soviet officials denied it, but we may never know if Scorpion died alone or was hunted. If Soviet action was involved and covered up to avoid escalating the Cold War, then 99 submariners became acceptable casualties in a war of silence. Here is the single most shocking discovery. When investigators analyzed control room instruments in Trieste II's photographs, they found them frozen at specific readings indicating rapid flooding from forward compartments. Torpedo room hatches showed no signs of being secured for emergency. The most disturbing part, examination of the wreckage pattern suggested some men survived initial explosions. They would have known, for seconds or minutes, their submarine was dying, that they were descending past crush depth with no way to stop it. This fundamentally changes understanding because the official narrative portrayed Scorpion's loss as instantaneous, merciful. The evidence tells a different story, of a crew fighting to save their boat until physics made survival impossible. The Navy has known since June '69 when Trieste II completed its survey. They chose not to tell families. They chose to let them believe it was quick. That choice compounds the tragedy, not just death, but decades of unnecessary anguish. What makes this particularly haunting? We learned nothing. Just 5 years earlier, USS Thresher imploded with 129 men, leading to the SubSafe program. Scorpion's loss should have reinforced those lessons. Corners were still being cut. Scorpion remains on eternal patrol 3 miles down in the Atlantic. Steel tomb, containing 99 submariners, 2 nuclear warheads, and truth about what happens when operational demands override safety. The Navy monitors the site regularly. The wreckage is protected as a grave. Unauthorized disturbance is prohibited. The families, 64 widows and 99 children, spent decades fighting for answers the Navy already had. Some remain alive, still waiting, still wondering why their loved ones had to die for secrets that would eventually surface anyway, for a patrol that should never have happened, in a submarine that should have been in overhaul. The Cold War demanded sacrifice. It also demanded secrecy. Sometimes those demands merged, meaning families who lost sons and husbands also lost truth. That truth remains partially buried in 3 miles of dark water, inside a broken submarine with secrets the Navy still will not fully declassify. It makes you wonder what else is out there, hidden not by ocean depth, but by human decision. What other families wait for answers that already exist in classified files? What other wrecks hold evidence contradicting official narratives? The ocean keeps some secrets. But the ones that hurt most are the ones kept by choice. What do you think really happened to Scorpion? Was it mechanical failure, Soviet retaliation, or something else entirely? Let me know in the comments below and subscribe for more Cold War mysteries that challenge what we think we know.